Ivysaur in Brawl is bad. I've talked about this character twice before, so I'm just going to get straight into it this time. Ivysaur's down air is bad. Ivysaur explodes its bulb downwards, doing a little bounce while doing so. The move has a large hitbox which launches opponents diagonally, and it also has a smaller hitbox which sends opponents downwards. The move also has a grass effect which makes the move stronger against Squirtle but weaker against Charizard. The move stops Ivysaur's vertical momentum, which can be used to somewhat stall in the air. The move comes out frame 11, which is decent enough for a move like this. It's not super fast, but it isn't too slow either, so I can't really complain here. The biggest advantage this move has is its hitbox. I mean, look at the hitbox. In awe of the size of this hitbox.
Absolute unit!
The move has a large disjoint which is larger than the visual suggests, allowing Ivysaur to easily hit opponents with it from far away. This makes the move not too difficult to land combined with its decent startup, although the move only has 2 active frames. Ivysaur can hit a crouching Kirby while doing a full hop down air from max height. Ivysaur can also hit opponents below the ledge with this move while staying on stage, which is not something a lot of characters can easily do, so that's neat. Unfortunately for Ivysaur, however, those are all the nice things I can say about this move. This move is an absolute mess, and I'm going to explain why that is the case. The first problem this move has is that it is not very strong. The main hitbox deals 10% and it launches opponents diagonally with not a lot of knockback. It does not KO Mario on the final destination ledge without DI until he is at 152%, which is not great. With DI and momentum cancelling, it doesn't KO Mario at the ledge until he is over 175%, which is quite a bit worse to say the least. From center stage, the move does not even KO Mario at 200% without DI, although to give this move a bit of slack, DI doesn't really help much once the opponent is at this high of a percent, so it's not all bad, I guess. While the main hitbox certainly isn't strong, it at the very least has enough power to be used as a last resort KO move. But the thing is that this move has 2 different hitboxes which function differently. I've already gone over the main hitbox, but this move also has a smaller media smash hitbox with more priority, and oh boy, I have things to say about this hitbox. The first thing to know is just how small this hitbox is. You know Zelda's lightning kick sweet spot in Ultimate? You see how small this sweet spot hitbox is? Ivysaur's down air media hitbox is literally the same size as that. It is minuscule, and as you can imagine, landing this hitbox is pretty hard. You pretty much have to be right on top of the opponent in order to land it. You can't even land the hitbox if you are right next to the opponent. That's how bad it is. You also can't be too high or the hitbox will miss. You also can't be too low or... You have to use it at a fairly specific height in order to get it. The hitbox has basically no horizontal range and has limited vertical range too. And I'm demonstrating this using grounded, static opponents. You can only imagine just how hard it is to actually land this hitbox against a skilled opponent trying to recover. How are you meant to hit a top level Meta Knight with this hitbox? How? How?
I don't know. I don't know.
But with how difficult it is to land this hitbox, you might be thinking, well, considering how hard it is to land this sweet spot, it surely must be very powerful. This hitbox deals 8%. 8%. This hitbox deals less damage than the much bigger sour spot. But lower damage does not automatically mean lower knock. This is the move's knockback at 200%. 200%. This is what Olimar's white Pikmin down air looks like at 200% for a comparison. There is a reason I haven't been calling this hitbox a sweet spot. It's because this hitbox is weaker than the bigger hitbox. The big hitbox puts Mario into tumble at 31%. The media hitbox doesn't put Mario into tumble until he's at 73%, a 42% difference. This media isn't the sweet spot, it is very much a sour spot. In fact, no, that's still being too generous. It's a moldy spot! But I know what some of you are already thinking. You are supposed to use this move off stage, you terrible YouTuber. And while you are correct, don't get your hopes up because the hitbox is exactly the same strength against aerial opponents. The move does not KO Wolf at the ledge until he is at 83%, which is ridiculously late. Mario's fair. A move I already called out for being too weak KOs Wolf 30% earlier. And if you thought that was already bad, remember that Wolf more or less can't media cancel. Brawl has media cancelling where every other character can jump out of a media smash, with most characters being able to do so 25 frames after being hit by a media smash. How late do you think Luigi can survive Ivysaur's down air at the ledge without DI? Well, if you guessed 166%,
congratulations!
You win! Falco's frame 5 down air as a comparison. I have no idea what this man was thinking. Why is the media smash hitbox so weak, so hard to land, and why is it so much weaker than the infinitely easier to land hitbox? Did Sakurai accidentally mix up the damage and knockback values of the 2 hitboxes?
The world will never know!
But I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case. But at least we are finally done with talking about the move's power, and I can move on to the move's other problems. Wait, why is Ivysaur tired all of a sudden? Oh no! Stamina. Because this is Brawl Pokemon Trainer. When Ivysaur has been used for too long, it gets tired and almost all of its attacks get weaker. How exactly does that bode for Ivysaur's already weak down air? Well, the big hitbox doesn't KO Mario at the ledge until he's over 250% with DI. And the moldy spot, I think that speaks for itself. This move is pretty laggy. The move comes out on frame 11, which is perfectly fine as I stated before, but the move has 63 total frames, which is a lot. Ivysaur does do a little bounce when using the move, which does make it safer off stage than it otherwise would be, but if you do a full hop down air, you can't double jump out of it to stay in the air because of how laggy it is. This very easily allows the opponent to punish the move, especially when combined with other factors I will be going over. The move has 28 frames of landing lag, which is quite hefty. The move does not short hop auto cancel, and Ivysaur does that little bounce when performing the move, so whenever you want to use the move, Ivysaur takes a while to land, and when it finally lands, it goes through nearly half a second of landing lag, making the move extremely laggy. If you do a down air on the last possible frame before landing, which is a terrible idea by the way, because the move hits so low that it flat out can't hit opponents on the same ground level as you, Ivysaur is stuck in a total of 50 frames of lag. 15, that doesn't sound too bad. I said 50. 50. This shockingly gives the opponent a million years to punish Ivysaur if the move does not connect. The safest the move can be on shield is -47, which is absolutely abysmal. The opponent has more than 3/4 of a second to punish Ivysaur, which makes this move more dangerous than pretty much every other aerial in the game, but it gets worse. The move has almost no horizontal range if you land as late as possible before landing, so if you want more horizontal range so you can actually hit the opponent's shield from a distance, you have to use the move a lot higher in the air, and if you do that, the move's frame advantage on shield goes well into the -50s, which, makes punishes like this possible. But this can be mitigated somewhat with auto-cancelling. The move auto-cancels from frame 52 onwards, a whole 40 frames after the hitbox's end. The move can't short-hop auto-cancel, so that option is just not there, but the move can full-hop auto-cancel pretty easily. If the move is full-hop auto-cancelled, it can be safer than using it extremely close to the ground while also giving you the move's full range. That sounds great! How much safer is it? A perfectly auto-cancelled down air is -41. It's a bit of an improvement, but -41 is still atrocious, being heavily punishable by pretty much everyone. And if you down air a bit too early, you won't auto cancel the down air, and that will push the move into the -60s on shield, which, So,
Yes.
this move is extremely risky to use despite not even being strong, but this move has one more issue which makes the move even more risky than it otherwise would be. When you do a down air with Ivysaur, once Ivysaur attacks, you literally cannot move for a long period of time. I'm dead serious. You can't move in the air once Ivysaur attacks with down air. Do I even need to explain why this is so bad? Most aerials allow you to move freely in the air, which either allows you to move forwards and apply pressure, or move backwards to create distance and stay safe. You can't do either of those things with Ivysaur's down air. If you use this move, you literally turn Ivysaur into a rock in the air, and since you can't move and the move has a consistent trajectory, the opponent can punish this move extremely consistently. The opponent doesn't need to follow your aerial drift like they need to with almost every other aerial in the game. They just need to punish or get into position first if they need to. This also makes the move riskier to use offstage because you can't drift back onto the stage after using the move. Why? Why did you do this? But you might now be wondering, just how long is Ivysaur unable to move for? Funny you should ask that. If you look at the move script, it says that Ivysaur can start moving again on frame 41. So Ivysaur can move on frame 41, right?
You know, it's amazing. You are 100% wrong.
If we look at the script again, you can see that this command is placed after the command to make the move auto-cancel on frame 52. And because Smash scripts have to go through the script in the order they were written, this means that Ivysaur cannot move until frame 52 of the down air. If you're familiar with how Ganondorf's forward air in this game has more ending lag than it should have, this is the exact same issue. So Ivysaur can't move out of down air until it can auto-cancel, and even then, you can only slightly move left or right or fast forward until the move fully ends. You can't act out this move if you do a full hop fair, as a reminder. But if you think that's the end of it, I still have one more thing to cover. Because of this move's extreme lag, Ivysaur being unable to move and the hitboxes being weak, the move is quite unsafe on hit at lower percents. The main hitbox is around -23 to -17 on hit at 0% with a perfect auto cancel, depending on the matchup, which yeah. is pretty bad. The safest the move can be before the opponent enters tumble is -14 to -8, which is still not good, but the opponent is at least sent far away from you, which can prevent them from punishing you. It is also worth noting that if you don't auto-cancel the move, it becomes way more unsafe on hit. And then if we go over to the moldy hitbox, things get way worse. At 0%, a perfectly auto-cancelled down air is -30, meaning that the opponent gets hit by the move and they literally have half a second to hit you before you can do anything. You can't even land this hitbox and auto-cancel this move against shorter characters on the ground, which is genuinely an improvement in this case, but if you did want to land the media hitbox on these characters for some inexplicable reason, you have to go into landing lag, making this hitbox even more unsafe on hit. As if minus half a second wasn't already unsafe enough for you. I am now going to show you just how unsafe this hitbox is on hit when you miss the auto cancel by 1 frame. I want to make it crystal clear that this is a guaranteed punish and there is literally nothing Ivysaur can do to avoid it. The safest the media hitbox can be is -14 on hit, which is still pretty bad. And the thing about this hitbox is that because it is a meteor smash, the opponent goes nowhere when they get hit by it prior to tumble percents. The opponent can punish you extremely easily since they will be right next to you. Actually, I told a bit of a lie. It can be safer. There is a percent window where the media hitbox has a very small chance of tripping. If the move trips, it is -6 on auto cancel and the opponent can't punish. The move can be safe on hit at a specific percent range if Ivysaur gets really lucky. Otherwise, the move is punishable on hit.
Brilliant. Brilliant.
And even when the move causes tumble, it is -19 on hit with an auto cancel. This isn't the end of the world for the main hitbox as the opponent is launched away from you and the knockback scales fairly quickly, but for the media hitbox, so Ivysaur's down air is really laggy, it's pretty weak for how laggy it is, and Ivysaur can't even move for most of its duration, making it even more dangerous than it should be. So does this move have any utility? Why yes it does. The main area this move is actually fairly effective is to poke opponents from below. When you are launched upwards and left in a disadvantage, down air is actually pretty effective at poking opponents. The move's giant disjointed hitbox allows Ivysaur to easily hit opponents from far below, so if the opponent is trying to juggle Ivysaur, they can absolutely get clipped by the down air. Ivysaur is often in a position where it cannot easily be punished if it lands a down air, and if the opponent is at high enough percents especially, it can allow Ivysaur to safely get back on the ground. Sure, the move is quite risky to use and the opponent can play around it, but it's nevertheless an option the opponent has to be genuinely wary of, because the hitbox is huge and it can absolutely catch an opponent off guard if they are not careful. The move also can be used for edge guarding. Now, it is not a good edge guarding tool at all. The main hitbox launches opponents at an upwards diagonal angle, and when it is DI'd, it flat out launches the opponent upwards. The media smash hitbox is also super finicky to land, and it is really weak if it miraculously does land. But Ivysaur can very easily safely cover the ledge with this move. And if Ivysaur lands a move right in front of the opponent, it can lead into a cheeky stage spike if the opponent isn't prepared to tech it. And while the media hitbox is tragic, if you do manage to land it in the right situation, it can do its job and lead into a KO, especially against characters with bad recoveries. It sucks at its job, as I have already meticulously explained, but it genuinely can work in the right circumstances, and that is good enough. And while this last thing is completely useless, here's an obligatory RCO combo against Wolf. Overall, Ivysaur's down air is awful. While it has a massive hitbox and has decent startup, the move is simply way too weak and way too risky. It has too much ending lag, it has too much landing lag, it auto-cancels too late, and it locks Ivysaur's movement, which was a genuinely terrible decision, which makes this move that much riskier. And then there's the media hitbox.
Pull the lever, Crunk. Why do we even have that lever?
The move isn't completely irredeemable. It does have genuinely good traits. It is functional, and there are areas where the move is genuinely useful and gets the job done. But the move is certainly more undertuned than it should be, and I think that is a shame. As much as I've ragged on the move, I really do like the concept behind the design of the move. The move giving Ivysaur that little bounce. Having a massive horizontal launching hitbox followed by a tiny media smash hitbox is honestly something I really like. More than the ultimate version of the move, which is a consistent media smash. Now, the move locking your horizontal movement was a terrible idea. I can't defend that, but I really do like the general design behind the rest of the move. If you made the media hitbox way stronger while keeping it the same size, as well as removing the horizontal movement restriction and making the move show up auto-castable or at the very least meaningfully reduce its landing lag, that would be a great improvement which I would really be satisfied with. But unfortunately, they made the media too weak and they locked your horizontal movement while using the move, ultimately crippling the move far too much.
Thanks for watching.
Guys.
Just smash the like button, comment and subscribe.